In the shadowy underworld of East London, they called him the criminal Houdini. 3 times Nana Oppong faced murder charges. 3 times he walked free. Each acquittal only enhanced his reputation as an untouchable figure, a man who could outmaneuver justice itself. But even the most charmed lives eventually meet their reckoning. On his 4th dance with the law, the 44-year-old drug kingpin finally saw his luck run dry, sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 38 years for an execution-style killing that shocked even hardened detectives. You are watching OCG TV. Oppong's notorious journey through London's criminal landscape began early. In December 1999, when he was just 19 years old, he faced his first murder charge for the killing of Jeremiah Oki in Plaistow, East London. Details of this case remain sparse, but what is known is that by March 2001, a jury at the Old Bailey found him not guilty. It was his first brush with a serious charge and his first escape from justice's grasp. With this acquittal behind him, Oppong spent his 20s deepening his connections in London's criminal networks. Rather than using this second chance to reform, he immersed himself in drug dealing and occasionally worked as hired muscle. The patterns that would define his criminal career were already solidifying: violence, narrow escapes, and a growing reputation for invincibility. Oppong's 30th birthday celebration on May 28, 2010 should have been a milestone. Instead, it became a bloodbath that would once again see him in the dock facing murder charges. He had booked the Sugar Lounge nightclub in Forest Gate for an all-night party that attracted various armed groups from East London's gang scene. As court reporter Paul Cheston memorably described it, the quiet suburban street was transformed into a scene from a Quentin Tarantino film. Around 6:30 a.m., as dawn broke and revelers prepared to leave, a guest named Eugene Brown fired 4 shots into the ceiling. Chaos erupted. In the ensuing melee, Brown and another man, Patrick Ford, were chased from the club and shot dead. Prosecutors alleged that Oppong and his associate, 37-year-old Michael Smith, were the killers. The violence didn't end there. Kevin Powell, a friend of the victims, pursued Smith, distinctively dressed in a white suit, and shot him after he fell near a bus stop. Smith survived, and Oppong claimed to have found him bleeding in the street. In a statement that perhaps revealed more than he intended, Oppong told the court, "I'm not the devil, I saved someone's life in it." It was an odd choice of words for a man who presented himself as simply a good Samaritan. Smith was eventually convicted of the double murder and sentenced to 34 years. Kevin Powell received the same sentence for attempted murder, but once again, Oppong slipped through the net. After 2 trials where juries couldn't reach a verdict, prosecutors decided to cut their losses rather than pursue a 3rd trial. Instead of a life sentence, Oppong served just 2 years for perverting the course of justice. Within 2 years of his release, Oppong found himself facing another murder charge. This time, the violence unfolded at the Beaver Centre in Dagenham during another early morning party. At around 5:35 a.m, 25-year-old Ashley Latty was set upon by a group of men who kicked, punched and repeatedly stabbed him. In April 2015, 2 of Oppong's associates, Nicholas Terrelong and Tyler Burton, both 28, were convicted of Latty's murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. But in what became a pattern, Oppong himself was acquitted of murder. Instead, he received a 4-year sentence for attempting to commit grievous bodily harm, a relative slap on the wrist considering the violence that had occurred. By now, Oppong's remarkable ability to evade murder convictions was cementing his reputation. 3 strikes, and he still remained at liberty. In criminal circles, this pattern earned him the nickname of Teflon Don, a reference to the notorious American gangster John Gotti, who similarly seemed immune to conviction until his luck finally ran out. Released in 2017, Oppong immediately returned to what he knew best: drug dealing. He had established connections with prominent criminal figures, including gangster Carl Dread Robinson and East London businessman David Hunt. Even the COVID-19 pandemic, which began shuttering businesses in March 2020, didn't hinder his cocaine operation. During this period, Oppong utilized 2 phones on the EncroChat encrypted network, a sophisticated communication system favored by high-level criminals across Europe that promised complete security. What users like Oppong didn't know was that French police had managed to hack into EncroChat's server in Roubaix, northern France, and were monitoring thousands of messages. The timing of what happened next represents one of the most extraordinary coincidences in recent criminal history. On June 13, 2020, EncroChat sent an emergency message to all its users. Today we had our domain seized illegally by government entities. They repurposed our domain to launch an attack to compromise the carbon units. You are advised to power off and physically dispose of your device immediately. That very same day, June 13, 2020, would see Oppong commit the murder that would finally end his run of avoiding justice. Robert Powell, known as Fox, was no ordinary victim. A manager for drill rapper Dutchavelli, he was also well connected in London's underworld. The exact motive for his killing remains unclear, though it's understood that Oppong bore a grudge against Powell, according to sources close to the case. Fox had once abducted and tortured Oppong and had bragged about it for years afterward, a humiliation that may have festered in Oppong's mind until he decided to take revenge. This has never been confirmed. The murder was meticulously planned. Oppong's co-defendant, Israar Shah, parked his Toyota Prius outside a party venue, deliberately choosing a vehicle that partygoers would mistake for a minicab, waiting for fares. From this position, Shah could monitor the exit and alert Oppong when Fox emerged. As Fox left the party with his 2 sons at 4:46 a.m, Oppong emerged from a Ford Cougar and opened fire. He shot Fox 7 or 8 times, including once in the temple, a bullet that passed through his head, damaging his eye and teeth. The fatal wound, however, was a shot to the neck. A cosmetic gold teeth brace Fox had been wearing was later found on the ground nearby. 2 women sitting in a nearby car were also injured by stray bullets, one in the foot and the other in the leg. As Fox's sons cradled their dying father, Oppong and his getaway driver fled the scene. Fox was rushed to hospital but died the following day. After the murder, Oppong fled the country. In September 2022, more than 2 years after the killing, he was finally captured in the back of a lorry trying to enter Morocco, carrying a fake Maltese passport. He was extradited to the UK in June 2023 to face justice. At his trial at Woolwich Crown Court, Oppong presented himself as a respectable figure, wearing glasses and smartly dressed in a crisp white shirt and dark tie. He appeared calm and collected under cross-examination. His defense was clever. He claimed he had fled abroad, not because of Fox's murder, but because the EncroChat hack had exposed his drug-dealing operation. The timing matched perfectly. Both events occurred on June 13, 2020, making his explanation plausible enough to create reasonable doubt. Oppong claimed that on the night of the murder, he had attended a party in Redbridge, then tried to visit his girlfriend, Monica Holder, who refused to let him in. According to his testimony, he returned to his luxury apartment in Admiralty House, Wapping, around 4 a.m, an alibi that would place him far from the murder scene. But the prosecutor methodically dismantled Oppong's story. Records showed Oppong's key fob wasn't used to enter his building until 8:14 a.m, hours after he claimed to have returned. When confronted with this discrepancy, Oppong quickly replied that his flatmate had let him in, a convenient explanation that the jury ultimately didn't buy. The prosecution also presented evidence that one of Oppong's associates, Trevor Hamilton, had been sending him screenshots of Fox's Instagram posts in the days leading up to the murder. When questioned about this, Oppong appeared to insinuate that Hamilton might have been the actual killer, prompting the KC to accuse him of tailoring his story to fit the evidence. Throughout the trial, Oppong's romantic entanglements became a focal point. When questioned about his relationship with Monica Holder, whom he seemed obsessed with in messages, Oppong delivered one of the trial's most memorable lines. "I told Monica I loved her. I told Rakisha I loved her. I told Carla I loved her. I told Erica I loved her." Despite his nimble responses and carefully constructed alibi, the evidence against Oppong was overwhelming. The EncroChat messages, burner phones, and cell site evidence all placed him at the scene. After deliberation, the jury unanimously convicted him on all counts. In May 2024, Oppong's remarkable run of escaping justice finally ended. Judge Joel Bennathan KC sentenced him to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 38 years. In his sentencing remarks, Justice Bennathan didn't mince words. "Nana Oppong, from all I have seen of you and heard about you, you are an extraordinarily dangerous man." The judge also referenced Oppong's involvement in previous fatal incidents. "Neither of those histories mean you were responsible for those deaths, but both your convictions show you associating with groups who kill people, and both show you playing some sort of role in those events." The investigation isn't fully closed. Tempetop Adeyinka, another alleged accomplice in the murder, was recently extradited from Spain and faces trial soon. Sources close to the prison system suggest Oppong may face difficulties behind bars, having made numerous enemies throughout his criminal career. The prison service might send him to high-security facilities like HMP Full Sutton or HMP Frankland to keep him isolated from those who might seek revenge. The earliest Oppong could possibly be released is October 8, 2060, when he would be 80 years old. From Teflon Don to life prisoner, his fall has been as dramatic as his rise. After dodging justice 3 times, Nana Oppong's luck finally ran out when he chanced his arm once too often. The man who once boasted, "I'm not the devil," will now have decades behind bars to contemplate the lives he destroyed and the path he chose.